smaller on the x dimension. This vector is smaller on the x dimension by 2 units. But this vector is bigger on the y dimension by 2 units. So which one of them is a bigger vector? Which one of them is a longer vector? So let me call this vector as, say, A. Let me call this vector as A. Let me call this vector as B. Which one of them is a longer vector? Why do you think B is longer? It looks longer? But that's because my diagram drawing is not very good. Right? Because these are, I don't think these are all equally spaced. So you can't really infer anything from just looking at that picture. Even I can just make the notches on the y-axis bigger than the notches on the x-axis and picture will change. So a more formal way of measuring the length of a vector. You need to have a more formal way of measuring the length of a vector. How will you measure the length of a vector? Pardon? Yeah. So you see, what we talked yesterday will now become important. Yeah? You actually get a lot of overflow from the econometrics class into the maths classes and the maths classes into the econometrics classes because both are fundamentally the same subject. That's why you have the same teacher teaching both those subjects. Right? Okay? Fine. So yesterday how did we define distances? How did we define the distance from x to y? x minus y square किया था ना? ठीक है ना? But कल तुम लोग ने एक point पकड़ा नहीं. वो point was like this. Okay. Think of my example that I did yesterday. Right? So this is 0. This is my friend. This is my house. This is my friend's house. What is the distance of my friend's house from my house? Yeah. How did we get that? 1 minus 2 square. So I said अगर ये distance measure करना है, so that becomes 2 minus 1 square. And then I very cleverly told you that that's important because the negative जाता है, right? But now, suppose I have a third friend staying here. Yes? If I have a third friend staying here, do you not see a problem? Yes. What is the problem? So, what is the distance from N to F? 2 minus 1. What is the distance between F and T? So this is 1, this is 1. So this distance plus this distance must be equal to 2. Yeah? So this distance plus this distance must be equal to 2. Yes. But what is the distance from T and M? 3 minus 1 square. What is that? 4. So if I add these two distances, I get 2. But if I directly add this distance, I get 4. This is a problem, isn't it? So, what you really do in order to resolve that problem partially is to take a square root over everything. Right? You add all those distances and then take a square root. Right? That's one way of measuring distance. Sure? Okay? And think of standard deviation. Yeah, we will take the average way distance and square it up and take a square root, etc. Right? But we will come to those points. Okay, now, so let me measure the distance of this point from 0. The distance of this point from 0 will be first, so I've got x-axis and y-axis. I must find out how much is the distance on this axis and how much is the distance on this direction. How much is the distance on this direction? 1 minus 0 square, right? 1. So y, I will call this the norm of y. The norm of y will be given by 1 minus 0 square plus 4 minus 0 square and the square root on top. Right? How much is this, friends? 1 plus 16, yeah, is equal to square root of 70. What is the norm? I'll call the norm of B. I'm sorry, I should call the norm of B because I've called this point B, right? Yeah. What will be the norm of A? This distance, right? This distance, yeah. So what is this distance? 3 minus 0 square, right? Plus and the square root. Yeah? And how much is that? 9 plus 4 root 13, right? So indeed you are right. This was bigger than this. Yeah? Yeah? Yeah, but this is just Pythagoras. This is simply Pythagoras, no? What are you doing? You are squaring this and taking the square root. So this is nothing but Pythagoras. Pythagoras is the theorem, right? It is a way of measuring distances. Yeah? Sure?
So what is norm?
Now it is the length of these points. You give it the word norm. That's all. Yeah? You give it the word norm. So now, so beauty of it is, so now if I tell you that, if I now ask you, let's say the conjunction bundle X, okay? Say the vector X is 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay? And say Y which one of them has a bigger norm? Now you can't do Pythagoras theorem now, right? Because now the dimensions are changed. Now it's a 4 dimension, so you can't draw that and write that. But the general principle will still be valid. Yeah, the reason I didn't talk to you about the Pythagoras theorem is because the Pythagoras theorem is useful here only in the 2-dimensional space. But हमारी दुनिया तो multi-dimensional है ना? Right? So, how would you measure? So what will be the norm of X? Norm of X will be 3 square 2 minus 0 square. How much is this? 9 plus 1 plus 4 plus 9 is 18, 22 root 23. Because we are measuring from the origin. See, this is 3 minus 0 square is the distance of 3 from 0. We need some point from which we start measuring. That's why we call this origin. Yeah, so ultimately, for example, if I want to know whether you are sitting further or she, I have to have some reference point from whom? Right, that reference point we'll call G. We can choose any reference point arbitrarily. For example, I can choose this as a reference point, right? And then I can say she's staying further, she's sitting further than you from this reference point. I call this reference point 0, or I can call this as a reference point. And then the answer will change, but I need to choose some reference point. Without that reference point, I can't answer, right? So I have, okay, root 23. Okay. So what is the norm of Y? Yeah? 2 minus 0 square. How much is this? How much is this? 4 plus 1 plus 36 plus 15. So 16 plus 4, 36 plus 4, 40, 56, 57. Square root of 57. So obviously this norm of y is a much longer vector than x, right? Okay, but obviously we can't visualize them, we can't draw a graph, but we can still say which is a higher norm, right? Which has a higher norm. Okay, right. So similarly, some important ideas I will involve. So now, yeah, this is my example. So everybody knows how to calculate the norm of a vector? Yes. Right? Everybody knows how to form the norm of a vector? And those I could find vectors in this direction. Everywhere there will be a vector, right? Any point I write will be represented as a vector. But the angles will change, right? So basically, if I take, say this one here, then if I keep on rotating this one, I'll come to -1, I'll come to 1, right? So I can actually describe a circle like this. So this whole rotation is 360 degrees, right? And I divide it into 4 rotations, 90, 90, 90, 90. Okay? Right? So if you think of this circle, for example, what will be the radius of this circle? What will be the circumference of this circle? 2 pi r. What is r? But what is the radius of this circle? 1. So what would be the radius, what would be the circumference of this circle? 2 pi. Right? 2 pi. So this whole circle will be 2. Right? Sure? So if I move from here, this whole, so this is dividing that 2 pi into 4 parts. This is dividing that 2 pi into 4 parts. Dividing 2 pi into 4 parts. Dividing 2 pi into 4 parts. What do you divide? How do you divide 2 pi into 4 parts? 2 pi by 4, pi by 2. Right? Okay. So this is a pi by 2 movement. If I come here, this becomes pi. Right? This becomes 3 by 2 pi. And this becomes 2 pi. Right? The whole movement is like this. So I can either measure movements along this in terms of pi's, or I can measure how many degrees I am moving. This is 0 degrees. If I come here, I have got 90 degrees, I have got 180 degrees, 270 degrees, 360 degrees. One of them is called, so those are important differences, right? So one way is measuring it in terms of pi, the circle around pi, and the other 2 pi, and the other is to measure in terms of degrees, right? So the point is, any vector then can be represented either as a movement in terms of pi or movement in terms of the degrees. This is going to be an important point later on, right? When we do really a little bit more advanced econometrics in your first semester. Okay? Right. Sure? Okay. Now, okay, so think of my x-axis, think of my y-axis, think of my z. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. This is 0. -1, -2, -3, -1, -2, -3, 0. Right? Now, think of a vector which is say 2, 2. Yeah, so this is 2, this is 2, 2. Okay? So think of a vector 2, 2. We'll find it. Okay? Right. Now, so think of a vector, say 2, 3. Okay? I'll call this B. Okay? Now, what I want to do is add the two vectors. Add the two vectors. right? That is, I want to add two plus 2, right? Okay, so I was eating 3 kilos of mangoes and 4 kilos of bananas, not at once, right? 3 kilos of mangoes and 4 kilos of bananas. So think of this as 2 kilos of mangoes, 2 kilos of bananas. Think of this as 2 kilos of mangoes and 3 kilos of bananas. If I added them, what would I get? 4 kilos of mangoes and 5 kilos of bananas, right? So that new thing I have to now represent. So this would clearly be 4 and 5, right? That's how you add two vectors, very simple, right? That's how you add two vectors. So if you added them, what would that number be? That number would be 4, 5. How do you get that number 4, 5? Here, this plus this, right? So it will come to this point, 4, right? So this will be 4, right? Sorry, this will be the x-axis will be 4. You will come here, and the y-axis will be somewhere 5. So I will add these two. They will come here 4, and the y-axis will be somewhere. So if this is 5, I will get a point like this. I will get a point like this. I will get a point here, right? I will get a point here. Now, actually, if I join these 2 points, right? I will join these points and then I will join this point. This is the length of the new vector, right? This is the length of the new vector. And what you really do is, what you really try to see here is, what we should see here is that if you add these, right? Then if you remember the parallelogram law of vectors that you did in school, did you do it? So you see that picture here? Okay, fine. So this is the way you add vectors. So in general, if I ask you to add the two vectors, in general, if I ask you to add the two vectors, x1, x2, x3, x4, and y1, y2, y3, y4, what would that be? So x1 plus x2, yeah? Sorry, x1 plus, I'm sorry, okay? x1 plus y1, x2, x3 plus y3, x4 plus y4, right? Okay? Sure? That will be the new vector. Right? Okay. So, that's what you would get. But tell me one thing. Can you add these two vectors? Can you add these two vectors? No. Because there isn't an x4 here to be added to y4. Right? So the point is, you can add two vectors only if they belong to R4. You can't add a R4 vector with an R3 vector. You can't add an R2 vector with an R7 vector. You can add vectors only in the same dimension. Right? You can add vectors in the same direction. Right? Okay. Secondly, yeah.
I have a doubt. In the two-dimensional space over there,
right.
We found the point 4, 5, right?
4, 5.
In that space. So that was basically by summing x1, x2,
Yeah.
and y1, y2.
So I sum this way,
Yeah.
right? So what I essentially did was, okay, to again draw this diagram carefully for you. Okay, to draw this diagram carefully for you, what I did was, right. So my first vector was, this was my A. This was my B. Right. When I added them, what did I do? I moved from here to here. So on the x-axis, I moved from here to here, and on the y-axis, I moved from here to here. Right? So I moved to 5 on the y-axis and 4 on the x-axis, right? I moved to this point, right? So if I join this point, this will happen.
So that was basically the new part is x1 plus x2, y1 plus y2.
Yeah.
So in this case also it should be basically x1 plus x2.
No.
That will be the result.
No, because this will be x1 plus y1.
So over there is x1 plus x2.
Yeah, but see, this is a three-dimensional vector, no? So you think of, so basically here what I'm saying is 2, 2. This is x1, this is x2. Right? 2, 3, this is y1, this is y2. So if I add them, x1 plus y1, x2 plus y2. Sure? That's how one adds vectors? Okay? Right? So what we really say is, now the point is, if you have a three-dimensional vector, and if you add it to another three-dimensional vector, what do you get? You get a vector which is also a three-dimensional vector. So we say that the collection of vectors is closed under vector addition. You say collection of objects is closed under addition if by adding those objects, adding 2 of those elements, the resultant is an object of the same collection. Then you say that the collection is closed under addition. Right? So if you have say cats, right? If you take 2 cats and add to them 3 cats, you have 5 cats, right? The collection is closed under addition. But if you have a collection of dogs and cats, then that's not closed under addition unless you are thinking of collection of 4-legged animals. Yeah? Right? So the vector space, the collection of vectors is closed under the operation of addition. That is, you take a vector belonging to R3, add to it a vector belonging to R3, the resultant is a new vector belonging to. Have I said something wrong? The collection vector is still a vector belonging to R3. Yeah.
So when we join V with an additive vector of 4 and 5, so we actually draw 2 lines which are exactly of the same length.
Yeah. So what you have is, this is like, this is like adding a line here and adding a line here. But don't think too much in this adding lines etc. because as you can think of it, 2-dimensional space. Right?
What do you say about the parallelogram law of motion?
Well, the parallelogram law, it says that if you actually have one vector like this, another vector like this, then if you draw this, then you draw the diagonal. But that's essentially the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because what I have here is, I move along this much on the x-axis, and I move along this much along the y-axis, and I get this much, right? So basically same thing, right? Oh. Now, so now suppose I have a vector, okay? Suppose I have a vector z, right? I have a vector, suppose I have points 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have points 1, 2, 3, 4. Think of the vector 1, 1. Yeah? So I have the vector. So 1 kilo of apples, 1 kilo of bananas. And suppose you get a phone call and says from home, get 3 times as much of both. What will you do? 3 kilo of apples, 3 kilos of bananas. So you will see 3 into this is 3, 3. Right? So if you multiply this by the vector 3, 1, 1 by a scalar 3, what would you get? The same vector will go like this. Yeah? It will just be 3 times longer. Right? If you find the norm of this vector, what is the norm of this vector? 1, 1, 1, 0 square plus 1, 0 square square root, which is 1. What is the norm of the vector 3, 3? 3 minus 0 square plus 3 minus 0 square square root. Right? Okay? Sure? Right? Okay. So what you really have is, you have a longer vector. But the resultant is still a vector in R2. Similarly, if you multiplied a vector in R3 by some constant alpha, what would you get? A vector in R3 only. If you multiply a vector in R7 with a constant, what will you get? A vector in R7 only. So if you have a collection of objects where if you multiply any object by a scalar, the resultant is still a collection of that object, collection belonging to that object, then that collection is said to be closed under scalar multiplication. So you have got two ideas. A collection of objects closed under addition. That is, if you add elements of this object, if the resultant is still an element of that collection, right, then you say that the collection is closed under addition. The set of vectors is closed under addition. If you add two vectors belonging to R3, you get a vector in R3. Right? You say collection of objects is closed under scalar multiplication. That if you multiply each of the objects in this collection by a scalar, the resultant is still an object of that collection. Then you say the collection is closed under scalar multiplication. The collection of vectors is also closed under scalar multiplication. Right? In fact, now we come to a very important definition. The set of objects which is closed under addition and scalar multiplication is referred to as a vector space. Right? So what's a vector space? What's a vector space? A vector space is nothing but, let S, think of S. Okay? Think of S belonging to R, some subset of the real number. Okay? Or in general, Rn. Okay? The n-dimensional real space. Right? Think of X belonging to X is a subset of S, and think of Y as a subset of S. Okay? If X plus Y also is a subset of S,